In almost every social setting, there is an unspoken expectation to speak, to comment, to react, to fill the silence. And yet, there are people who don't. They listen more than they speak. They pause before responding. They don't rush to share every thought that crosses their mind. To many, this looks like shyness, or insecurity, or a lack of confidence. But psychology suggests something much deeper. People who don't talk too much are often not withholding themselves. They are filtering. Their minds don't treat every thought as something that needs immediate expression. Instead, thoughts are observed, evaluated, and sometimes quietly released without ever becoming words. This internal filtering is not emptiness, it is regulation. In psychological terms, excessive talking is often linked to external processing, the need to think out loud in order to feel grounded. Silence, on the other hand, is frequently associated with internal processing. These individuals think before they speak, not because they are afraid, but because they are already processing internally. For them, speaking is not a reflex, it is a decision. People who don't talk much often have a heightened sensitivity to social energy. They notice tone shifts, body language, emotional undercurrents, and because they are constantly absorbing this information, they speak less, not out of withdrawal, but out of awareness. They understand that words have weight. Every sentence changes the atmosphere of a room. Every opinion creates a reaction, and not every moment requires intervention. Psychologically, this restraint is often connected to emotional intelligence. Rather than reacting to fill space, these individuals allow silence to do its work. Silence invites others to reveal more. Silence de-escalates tension. Silence gives clarity time to form. In conversations, they are often the ones who remember what was said, not because they spoke little, but because they listened fully. Another important aspect is identity stability. People who talk less are often less driven by the need to assert themselves verbally. Their sense of self is not dependent on being heard constantly. They don't feel erased by silence. They don't experience quiet as absence. They experience it as presence. This is why many people who don't talk much appear calm under pressure. When emotions rise in a group, arguments, excitement, panic, they don't add fuel. Their nervous systems are already accustomed to holding internal space without external discharge. They don't rush to prove intelligence. They don't compete for attention. They don't narrate themselves. Instead, they wait. And when they finally speak, it often lands with impact. Psychologically, this creates an interesting dynamic. In groups, people who talk less are often perceived as either invisible or unusually wise, rarely anything in between. Their silence creates projection. Others fill the gap with assumptions. But silence is not emptiness, it is unspent energy. Many individuals who speak less also have a strong relationship with solitude. They are comfortable being alone with their thoughts. They don't need constant verbal stimulation to feel connected. Their inner world is already active. This doesn't mean they dislike people, it means they don't fear quiet. In fact, research suggests that people who are comfortable with silence often experience lower impulsivity. They are less reactive, less prone to regretful speech, less likely to say something simply to reduce discomfort. They choose accuracy over speed. In modern culture, loudness is often mistaken for confidence, visibility for value, expression for depth. But psychology repeatedly shows that restraint is often a sign of maturity. People who don't talk too much tend to be observers first, participants second. They notice patterns, they detect inconsistencies. They sense emotional shifts long before words appear. And because they are not constantly speaking, they are constantly learning. This is also why such individuals are often misunderstood. Silence is unsettling in a world trained to perform. It challenges the assumption that presence must be verbal. But presence can be quiet. Presence can be attentive. Presence can be still. If you've ever been told to speak up more or asked why you're so quiet, it doesn't mean something is missing. It may mean something is already contained. Your thoughts don't need to be broadcast to be valid. Your awareness doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. Some minds express themselves best through words, others through timing. And timing, psychologically, is everything. If this perspective resonated with you, consider subscribing to The Inner Observer. Here, we explore the psychology of quiet minds, the patterns, behaviors, and inner worlds that don't always announce themselves but shape human experience in profound ways. You don't need to talk more to matter. Sometimes, the most meaningful presence is the one that knows when not to speak.